The next speaker is Sandeep from CropBytes. I would say he's a legend in this particular space because he's been running a game that nobody knew about from India for the last 4 years on crypto. So, Sandeep, over to you. Yeah, Sandeep is going to come up. We're just going to mic him. And over to you, Sandeep.
I want to thank these organizers for creating such a beautiful platform. And we have been invited here to share our 4 years of journey of the game which we have built in back in 2018. So we are excited to share that journey with you, all of you guys. Let's start this thing. Before starting this, right, I just want to say a few small thing about Web3 games. So we have seen many genre of the games hyper casual games and simulation games and these battle royale mode games. Similarly, right, I can see these Web3 games as a new genre of the game, which is going to be a next evolution. But why it's going to be a next evolution? So have you seen any Web2 game which used to play its users? No, right? So, but right, it is these Web3 games having a potential to create the value for the users' investment or for the players. So that is going to. So I'm very bullish about these Web3 games, and that's why I believe that it's going to be a next big thing and a next big evolution in the gaming space. So I want to share what is CropBytes. CropBytes is all about CropBytes is a game of business which we have started which we have built back in 2018. When I say a game of business, right, what we are doing in CropBytes is we are replicating the economics of real world into a farming game. So when you see about any national economics of any nation or any country, right, its core is connected with the agriculture and cropping or farming. So similar, that is the reason why we have started this CropBytes as a farming simulation game. So in this game, right, in this game, user can able to hold these different assets we have a lands, lakes, which produce a water, and animals, where users need to feed that animal daily. So for example, it's not required for every user to hold all of these assets. For example, I'm a user A. I'm just holding some set of animals which needed to be fed daily. If not, right, that animal will die. So I need feed for the feed to feed that animal. But right, imagine I don't have a land. So that feed, right, I can able to get from the landowner who is producing that feed. So on this way, right, we are making it more meaningful to call it as a game of economy. Just like our real world, right? If you don't have, right, you can able to purchase it from other user. Similarly, right, if you have any of excess, for example, right, you have a lake and you are minting water from that, and you have some excess of water after using some from your farm, you can able to sell it that in open markets, which we have created. So you might ask the same thing can be done in a Web2. The same thing can be done as a Web2 game, but why we build this kind of a simulation, real-time economy simulation as a Web3? So because right, I just want to give us a few fundamental differences between a traditional games and a Web3 games. So when it comes to the traditional games, right, all the assets used to be sell from the game store, or called it can be called as a shop, anything. So right, what and all the game developers used to sell these, right, will be not having a value. So it is purely for entertainment purpose, and it is just to entertain our users actually. At the same time, right, it is all the traditional Web2 games, right, was designed to give entertainment, not to create any value. At the same time, right, only the players will be there in these traditional games, and at the same time, when it comes to these Web3 games, right, it's not all the transactions will be happening in the marketplace. It's not about only these game developers selling to users. It's all about player to player can also, they can able to do many trades. For example, I'm a family player. Back in 2014, I have spent some money in in-game purchases, because right, it is giving me thrill. But after some time, right, I will be losing that thrill, but I can't able to sell that asset to anyone actually. So what is the beauty of this Web3, right? It is not about owning the asset of thrill, and even for example, if you it's creating a value actually there. So even though, for example, if you invested on some asset or some animal, if it got over the period of time, imagine that it got some value, so you can able to sell it to other player who is willing to pay for that. So all these kind of a transactions, right, will be happening in the open market space in the Web3 games. At same time, right, in the Web3 game, it's all about like building an economy. Like where in traditional games, right, the main incentive of these game developers is to uh, give the entertainment. But right, here it is all about creating a value. At the same time, right, like one important thing in the Web2 games or traditional games, right, you can see only gamers. But in the Web3 games, right, you can see there are like three set of users. Users are classified into three sets, which is like gamer, trader, and an investor. I have some small interesting fact here to say. So usually, right, we have some beautiful marketplace built in the CropBytes. So and most of the users, right, so for example, I need some feed for my animals. I used to purchase that in market. But we have observed like a few users, right, although they are not players, they want to purchase and hold the feed. So by thinking that, right, when they used to sell that, when the feed goes up, right, they used to sell in markets. So we are attracting traders also here. So it's just like our, we can say like, for example, right, we can see in real life, right, the few prices of oil used to go and up. So if you think like something is going, if something, some price of our daily goods or essential going up, right, users will be keep used to stock that in upfront. And similarly, right, in these Web3 games, people used to stock that even though they are not a player. We have observed that people will be holding this water and feeds, so that right, when the prices of feed or water spikes up, right, they used to sell in a marketplace. So let's come back to our journey. Like, so I just want to tell you about like how these Web3 games look back in 2018. So this is how I mean, most of the games are just collectible card games. It's a collectible card games, and it will be giving when you collect some rare asset or rare card, right? It will give you a lot of thrill. Out of the thrill, right, users will be posting that, placing a order for a higher price. So that right, who user and a buyer who want like a thrill of owning that asset, right, will be paying for that. And apart from that, right, back in 2018, there is no gameplay at all actually. These are just a collectible, and a few games they are breedable. But right, and what is we used to see a lot of friction back in 2018. Like not many users knows about like how to manage their wallets and how to manage their keys. So that right, game developers back in 2018, right, used to spend a lot of their energy in educating the users, because there is a lot of learning curve involved. At same time, right, all of these games are playable only on web browser. They can't even play in the mobile browser also. So which is adding a like lot of friction actually. So like at the same time, we want to build these CropBytes, but like we are seeing like I mean, before us, right, there are like 5 to 6 games has been started already, and we have seen how it is going, and where are the friction they are adding. At the same time, right, and the way how we want to build these CropBytes is completely different than other existing games which are already there in the market. At the same time, we don't have any reference to take to do a case study in order to be successful. So we thought of carefully crafting it in order to be successful in the market. So for that, right, we have taken a few measures. Out of that, I would like to share that measures with you. First thing is like UI and UX. We would what we thought like UI and UX of this game, right? We thought of matching with this Web2 simulation games, so that right, people who players who used to play these Web2 simulation games, right, can onboard to this game very easily. At the same time, right, even though like our vision of this game has, I mean, we have like a beautiful vision. We don't want to implement everything at one go. So we want to keep this gameplay as simple as possible at the early stage. So, and another thing is like, unlike all the games are doing in a decentralized mode, and using a craze of NFTs back at that time. But right, we have seen like there is a huge friction. You will be ending up your energy by spending on educating people. So right, we simply made it as centralized. Centralized means like all the gameplay and everything. Centralized means, you know, like how exchanges operates. They will not give you the keys. They will keep the keys, and they are allowing you to withdraw the funds. We have operated in a similar way, so that right, we can't able to get these. We have we have reduced the friction from our onboarding. And another important thing is like we have built a beautiful community from the day zero, which helped us. I mean, on which we have leveraged a lot in order to educate on about the game, or educating about this how the transactions used to happen in blockchain. So we teach our community how to play the game, and they teach it to many others. So like that is what I mean. We can say like I can say like the community what we have built back in 4 years is became like a good asset for us. So when it comes to gameplay, right, back in 2018, like as I said, everything is card game. There is no gameplay itself. but we want to build a game which can actually call as a game. So right, we know like how the farming simulation and simulation games work. So we have looped all the gameplay in a small circle, so that right user will be going through the circle and same will be repeating, and which helped us to keep engaging the users with the gameplay. And of course, like we are the first one to launch a crypto game in Android store and iOS store in back in 2018. So, and
I guess also how we did it is something we can discuss offline.
yeah. Uh, so we kept this gameplay very simple, and like we had a very good pre-sale of in-game assets back in 2018, which is very successful, and like very soon within no time that we have launched an actual playable game. So that right we have got that hook of users. Our users used to, I mean, early adopters of these crypto games, right, used to stick with us, and they supported us a lot. As we released an existing product, playable product, where they can actually play and earn. So, and that is a story about all about 2018. But like what is happened in 2019 is completely different actually. Like a lot of games started their operations back in 2018 in the bull run. But when it comes to 2019 bear market, right, like 95% of the games which started their operations back in 2018 has shut down their operations completely. They have closed the games. Few have exited in a very abnormal way. But like overall, right, like, only 5% of the games has been survived. So the reason for this is like most of the games were NFTs at the time. They have faced like a severe liquidity issue in 2019. At the same time, right, most of the games are just collectibles, so that users get bored very easily, and they have exited. They have stopped playing that games. And one more thing is like most of the games are in just an alpha stage, which did not help them to survive in this bear market. And like same time, right, but we have survived the 2019 bear market, right, not affected CropBytes much. The reasons were like in 2018 itself, like we have released the actual working product, and like our, as it is a game of economy, right, and which is very close to a real life. So users need to open their app every time, at least once in a day, in order to keep their animals alive. So like which is given like a great hook, and to continue our users to stick to this on the CropBytes app. And the same time that although like we have survived in the bear market, we have seen like we have seen like a friction of trading, because like majority of our assets was NFTs at that time. So like by with this experience, right, we have changed that our majority of NFT assets to FTs.
Right. So we heard what we did in 18. We also like focused on the product more in 19. We saw, so essentially in 18 and 19, we saw a bull and we saw a bear. And we know what happens to games, Web3 games in the bear market, you know, especially when you are NFT driven. And that's what we worked on in 2020. We actually knew there was a bull run coming. We focused on the product. We built a solid product. Initially, when we were NFT led, we had an NFT style marketplace where you essentially see sell orders and you place orders, right? But you don't see the buy orders. So we actually moved to an order book style exchange. That helped a lot. People were familiar to the way exchanges, function. So that got them on quickly onto the exchange and brought in more liquidity of, say, assets and token on the exchange. Similarly, 2020 end, we cracked something in the game. This is product-led marketing. We actually worked on a referral program. Now, what do you expect of a referral program in a game? Needs to onboard users into the game, right? So what we did is, this is a game. It's supposed to be addictive by itself. We actually devised a referral program that could onboard people as well as activate them in the game. And what do gamers want in a Web3 game? Like, what do you think they come to play the game for? Most valuable thing. Any answers here? Okay, commission. Assets. Okay, but Kevin, not fair. Assets. Yeah, so players love holding assets. Okay, so we realized, and this is what they come to play Web3 games. So we actually worked a referral model where the referrer and the referee both get assets after they complete X number of activities in the game. X number meaning the game has to be played daily, so within a few days they get this asset. And because CropBytes has worked on this economy and has been a 3-year-old game, the value of our assets are always good, always growing consistently versus like just having a spike and then going down. because of the excess supply. I mean, I don't want to name the other games, but this is the model, right? You guys know this. And of course, the referral model, the referral scheme that we actually cracked in 2020 got a lot of people flocking in. So this, we started 2020 this way. It was a big bang. We had 35% of our audience that started coming in from Philippines. 60% of our signups were from our referral program that we cracked. So that was a big one for us. So if you look at our demographics, we have Philippines, we have Southeast Asia, we have the Latin-speaking countries, Spanish-speaking countries, Latin America, and of course, a little bit of US. And yeah, so that's essentially what we did in 2020. Coming to our community, right from the start, this is one thing we knew. If you want to build a Web3 game, the focus has to be on the community, because I think, and somebody covered this earlier as well, when you build a Web2 game, right, you don't need to focus so much on building value for your players. You're basically building value in terms of money, like for the time and investment that they put in. But in a Web3 game, that's really important. We literally build CropBytes along with our community. From day one, we have a very active, solid community that's playing the game. So we have around 32K, players on our Telegram community. We have a Discord. We have around 600K downloads to the game. So, like you can see, I mean, while we were working with our community, 2020, 2021, we grew using our referral. We actually worked on a really good ambassador program. So we are a farming simulation game, so you don't really have competitiveness within the game built in version 1 of the economy. So what we actually did is we built it on the side. So we have our ambassador program is called the CB Army. We have players competing amongst each other and also spreading the word on CropBytes, helping each other to grow and grow their portfolio within the game. We actually started this as a beta in 2020, but we started this with an Excel sheet and like 100 people signing up. But 100 also was too much for us. We were like, oh my God, 100 people want to do this. That's great. And within 6 months, we have around 3,000 players who are our ambassadors, who help promote the game, who form teams along with other people, teach them how to play, make content. And at the end of the month, we reward an entire team with a few game assets and essentials that they need within the game. So this also has kind of hooked on a lot of users within the game. Somewhere in 2021, we realized we've built the game for 3 years. We've done this right? We focused on the economy. We have our community. It was time for us to have backers. And that's when we went ahead and raised. We raised 2.6 million. But the raising was strategic. It was to bring on board partners. And that's what we did next.
Yeah, actually, I would like to add one point here. So by the time we raised, right, we are already running in a profitable mode. Actually, the reason why we raise is like we want to we want to bring good partners on board. Yeah. So one more thing, like by 2021 and 2020, right, we are doing good actually. So by the time of 2021, we are already a 3-year-old game, and many people or many people in this market used to ask like, why don't you create your own token? Why CBX? Why you want to create a token after 3 years? So like I would like to answer for this, like what we believe, right? If your product is good, and if your product is able to generate a revenue, right, you don't need to leverage on, you don't need to leverage on your own token. So even though if you use any third-party token also, it works. And the second thing is like, it's building of a product as well as a creating of your own token and managing it is a two completely different things. So it is highly not advisable to do the same at same time. And like when before, right, and the reason why we have waited to launch our token for 3.5 years is like, in all this time for 3.5 years, right, we are building our game and we have built a solid working product. We have built a solid community which can support the token. So when we are ready, right, for last 3.5 years, we are using a token called TRX. So I would like to share an interesting fact that 0.8% of total TRX wallets created globally has been created, 0.8% has been created on CropBytes platform. So like that is the extent what we have created value for TRX. So after this building like a strong community and building of a working product, right, we thought like it's a time to create a value for our own token. And one more thing I would like to suggest for all these people who want to jump from Web 2 to Web 3, right? If you can, your product should be generating a revenue in order to be successful, right? Your product should generate revenue. You should not be leveraging on your creating your own token, and you should not be leveraging on revenue which is coming from the token. So, right, if your product is really capable of generating a revenue, right? Then only, right, after when it got stabilized, then only you should be launching your own token. So CropBytes for the long term. So like we have launched our token 6 months back, but right, we have been creating a value for our assets since like last 4 years. So like we don't believe in like we don't want to grow with a hype. We just want to grow with a true value. So because right, what we believe, right, if you grow with the hype, how with the speed how you went up, right, with the same field you will with the same speed you will fall down. So that right, we never want to hype in the market. Even though right, if you don't want to run, right, we just walk, but we will sure, right, we will be reaching our destination. So at the same time, like from last 4 years, if you see that value for from last 4 years, our in-game assets has been grown up like 8,900%. So nothing can be cooked overnight. It took a lot of time for these assets to create a value. So similarly, right, our CBX is a 6 months old token. So with our experience, how we have created a value for in-game assets, right, we are plan to create our token in a long term. At the same time, so right, one more thing what I want to say, right, nothing can be cooked overnight. Basically in crypto, right, everybody want like quick returns, but believe me, if you get like, that is not like a sustainable. So every game, right, need to see like how we can able to create a sustainable economy. Then only, right, you will be getting value. You can able to create a value over the period of a time.
Right. So we listed CBX in November last year, and we launched at $0.1. Within the first minute, we saw 3,000% growth. We were of course expecting more, but 3,000% growth was great news. We launched on a we were on a co-launch pad with Bybit and MEXC. Post that, CBX is now listed on Uniswap, Probit, XT, and Lbank. We are also listing on a few more exchanges.
So,
and
yeah, deflationary protocol.
Sorry.
So I would like to say one thing, right? Like the protocol what we are following for our token is a deflationary protocol. Just like it's like a protocol similar to the Bitcoin. So what happens in this deflationary protocol, right? On the initial days, there will be like a lot of supply coming out. And slowly, right, the supply will be coming down. So the maximum mintable supply will be coming down over the period of a time. So that's why, right, like that's why we are following the deflation protocol. So we will be creating a value very slowly, but right, the value what we are going to create is was very sustainable in the markets, even though it's slow.
Right. So CBX is a 6-month-old token essentially. Yep. And with the fundraising and with listing, we now have a lot of partners on board. We have industry leaders who are guiding us. We have people helping us with building this economy and like building it every day, working along to kind of benefit the community. Yeah, over to you, Sandeep.
Yeah, so it's all about our game. This is how our terrain looks like. Although this is like an first-person view, at this moment, right, we have an isometric view of the same terrain. In future, right, we would like to build in this first-person view also. So this is. So we have like different assets in like. Okay.
With a renewed vision. The new CropBytes farm terrain is built for the future, where every asset and even the natural surroundings, be it a hobby station for animals, animated assets, or the billboard drones, everything is cutting edge. Introducing the new CropBytes identity, the symbol of our immersive metaverse. Come join the CropBytes movement, where every gamer has the power to build their crypto farm and grow this sustainable metaverse.
So one last thing I want to share, like anything. So I would just want to talk about like a CropBytes community. Any story of CropBytes is incomplete without telling about a CropBytes community. So as I said, like from day zero, we are building an awesome community, right? So from last 4 years, right, it's always like the CropBytes community is with CropBytes and the CropBytes is with CropBytes community. So I'd like to share a few stories of our users. So like, uh, so if you ask any Philippine users of Philippine users of CropBytes, right, each and everyone having a story to share actually. Like it has been impacted their lives in a positive way, especially in the pandemic. So like when a lot of people lost their jobs, right, they have leveraged on income what they are generating from the CropBytes. And I would like to share like two examples. Like there is a one guy from Thailand who is a farmer. He's running out of a cash in pandemic, and he was about to sell his real life horses. So the moment he realized that like he will get like more money by selling horses in this CropBytes metaverse, so immediately he stopped the plan of selling his real world horses, and he sold a few horses in the game and survived with that money for 3 months. So that is a one story. And another story I would like to say, this is happened in India. A Mumbai man, right, has been, I mean, he is a player of CropBytes since 2019. So he's, as I said, right, we have been grown like 8,900% from last 4 years. So he also got like good profits in this game, and he sold all his game as, I mean, with the profits what he made in CropBytes, right? He have bought a land in Mumbai, which is happened like just recently, like 10 days ago. So like so I just want to share like what is the next big thing on CropBytes. So we all know, right, like what and all so far we have created is like the people who can able to invest on game assets can able to play and earn, and they can able to create a value over a period of a time. So what is our vision is, right, the people who can't able to who can't able to deposit money and play and earn, right, we would like to create an opportunity for the people who is purchasing assets to also giving an opportunity to others to work on his farm. So right, what we want to create is like literally we want to create a work on metaverse. So as we are calling it as like an economy, and as we are comparing with the nations, right, these workers is also very important in every country. So similar kind of a thing, right, we want to build, like we want to make this work on metaverse is true. We want to bring this idea of work in metaverse. So like how we are how people used to work on various aspects and earn in real life, right? Similar kind of a sustainable work. Sustainable work means like when you take any nation's economy, it can't able to grow. It's not easy to go inflation or deflation so easily. So similarly, right, as we want to build a sustainable economics, sustainable economics means we want to give an opportunity for users to work on CropBytes, which is long lasting. It's not like we don't want to create an economy which is a bubble. We want to create some kind of economy which can run towards decades. So that's all about CropBytes. Thank you for being.
Thanks, guys. I guess it's great that we got this opportunity to share this story with the Indian audience, because our user base is generally global, and we haven't really reached out to the Indian audience yet. But I mean, we're a humble team. Also, we are outside. Come hang out, come ask us more questions. We couldn't really cover everything in the 20 minutes that we had, so we're happy to kind of have a conversation. And also I think on the Tegro kiosk, they have a game, and I think you win CropBytes assets. So they range from 200 CBX to 18,000 CBX. Go play and earn those assets. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.